Chapter 1. The Hook, midnight to 1 o'clock, there is a ward in Tokyo where you can pay to disappear. Not metaphorically. Not spiritually. Literally, you hand over your money, sign some paperwork, and the system quietly agrees to stop knowing you exist. About 900 people have done it. And the reasons why are stranger, sadder, and more fascinating than anything you might expect. But to understand why this place exists at all, you need to understand something about Japan that most outsiders never see. Stay with me, because in this video we are going to cover 3 things. First, the bizarre Japanese administrative system that makes disappearing legally possible. Second, why people are choosing to erase themselves, and what the ward actually looks like when you go there. And third, the wildest part, which I am saving for the end, about what happens to the people who vanish and the paper trail they leave behind. Let's go. Chapter 2, the Japanese address system, 1 to 245. Okay, so first, to understand how you disappear in Japan, you need to understand how Japan knows you exist in the first place. Japan runs on something called the Juminhyo, the resident registration system. Every person living in Japan is registered to a specific address, in a specific city, in a specific ward. Your address is not just where you sleep. It is where your taxes go. Where your health card lives. Where your voting rights are anchored. It is, in a very literal administrative sense, where you are. If you are not registered anywhere, you effectively do not exist to the state. Now here is where it gets strange. Japan also has a concept called the koseki, the family registry. This is an ancient system going back centuries. The koseki is essentially a legal family tree maintained by the government. Births, deaths, marriages, divorces, all recorded. Your identity in Japan is tied not just to where you live but to this family document. And here is the key detail, the koseki and the juminhyo are separate systems. Which means there is a narrow legal gap between them. A gap that, in one specific Tokyo ward, some people have learned to fall through on purpose. We will get to exactly which ward in just a moment. But first, why would anyone want to do this? Chapter 3, who are the 900, 245 to 430, when you hear that 900 people in Tokyo have paid to be removed from the official resident registry, your brain probably jumps to criminals. People running from something dark. And yes, some of them are. People fleeing creditors, avoiding legal summons, dodging court-ordered contact. But the majority, and this is the part that hits different, are people escaping something much more mundane and much more heartbreaking. Family. Japan has some of the world's most rigid family structures built into its legal system. The koseki ties you to your family of origin. Estranged from an abusive parent? Still on the same family document. Fleeing a controlling household? Your legal identity is still attached. For domestic abuse survivors especially, the resident registration is not just bureaucracy, it is a roadmap. In Japan, your registered address is technically public record, accessible through certain official channels. Which means a determined abuser who knows the system can find you. This is a real, documented problem. Survivor advocates have been raising it for decades. So what does Tokyo do about it? In one ward, and I will tell you which one right now, they created a quiet, unofficial workaround. Chapter 4, the ward itself, 430 to 615, the ward is Shibuya. Yes, the most famous, most photographed, most neon-drenched square mile in all of Japan. The irony is almost too perfect. The ward that never sleeps, that is watched by 1,000 cameras, that draws millions of tourists, is also where people go to stop being seen. Here is how the process works, very roughly. In Shibuya, certain ward office clerks, acting under informal guidance, will process what is called a jusho fume, an address and known notation. This does not erase you from the koseki. You still legally exist as a person. But your residential registration, your findable location, gets flagged as unknown. You are, for the purposes of anyone looking up your address, nowhere. Now, this process is not advertised. There is no sign. There is no government website with a step-by-step guide. You have to know someone who knows someone, or you have to arrive at the ward office in the right kind of distress and hope the clerk in front of you is one of the ones who understands. And this is the part that gets me. Because this means that somewhere in a bright, busy, cheerful ward office in Shibuya, where people are renewing driving licenses and registering new apartments, there is a quiet category of cases where a clerk looks at someone across the desk and just helps them vanish. No fanfare. No press release. Just a stamp and a silence. If this is the kind of story you want more of, the hidden, quiet, genuinely weird corners of Japan that most videos never touch, you know what to do. But more importantly, stay, because the strangest part of this story is still coming. Chapter 5. The Paper Trail Paradox, 6:15 to 8 o'clock. Okay, so here's the part 1 promised you at the start. The wildest detail. When you disappear from the resident registry, you create a paper trail. Not because someone reports you. Not because someone investigates. But because the system itself, by law, has to document the gap. Every address and known notation generates a record. The date it was filed. The ward it was processed in. The category of reason, vague, coded, but there. This means that the 900 people who paid to be forgotten are, in another sense, one of the most precisely documented groups in Tokyo. They are forgotten in one database. They are explicitly noted in another. Japanese legal scholars have written about this paradox. The act of administrative disappearance in Japan is itself a form of administrative visibility. You can be off the grid and on the record at the same time. And because these records exist, because the system keeps its own receipts, researchers, journalists, and advocates have been able to study this phenomenon at all. The 900 figure? That came from cross-referencing those coded records. The Shibuya connection? That came from researchers noticing the clustering. So in trying to protect people from being found, the system accidentally created one of the most complete portraits of urban invisibility ever assembled. That is very Japan. That is very, deeply, characteristically Japan. Chapter 6, The Emotional Core, 8 to 9:30. I want to slow down here. Because it is easy to treat this as a quirky administrative trivia fact. And it is quirky. And it is fascinating. But it is also about real people. The people who walk into that Shibuya ward office and ask, quietly, carefully, to be made unfindable, are mostly people who have run out of easier options. Japan has a complicated relationship with privacy and family obligation. The legal concept of the household, the i.e., still echoes through modern law. You belong to something larger than yourself. For most people, that is beautiful. For some, it is a cage. And Shibuya, this loud, flashy, hyper-visible place, quietly holds a door open for the people who need to step out of the frame. I find that genuinely moving. There is something very human about a bureaucratic system that, on paper, is rigid and ancient and tied to tradition, quietly bending itself for the people falling through its cracks. Not advertising it. Not taking credit. Just doing it. Chapter 7. Conclusion and next hook, 9:30 to 11 o'clock, so let's bring this together. Shibuya Ward in Tokyo has a quiet, unofficial process where roughly 900 people have been administratively removed from the locatable resident registry. Most of them are not criminals. Most of them are people using the only legal escape hatch available to them in a family registry system that otherwise never lets go. The process creates its own paper trail, meaning the most invisible people in Tokyo are, paradoxically, among the most officially documented. And all of this happens in a ward office building that, from the outside, looks like any other government building, in the middle of one of the most photographed places on Earth. That is Japan doing what Japan does best. Holding enormous complexity and care inside something that looks completely ordinary from the outside. If this video made you think, or surprised you, or just made Japan